Hello my friends, and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Erin and today is Friday, which means it is Book Review Friday once again. Today we are talking about a very exciting book. We are talking about Whispers in the Mist by Darcy Coates. This is the third book in the Black Winter series. So that being said, this is a series. I have reviewed book 1 and 2 on my channel previously, but this video may contain minor spoilers. I mean, if you haven't read the first 2 books, I really don't recommend watching this video because there are some spoilers. This is a review on the third book in the series. So if you have not read the first 2 books, I really don't recommend watching this video. I won't spoil anything for this book, but to talk about this book, I will be talking about some of the things that occurred previously. So yeah, if you have not read the first 2 books and you don't want minor spoilers, I don't recommend continuing this video, okay? Don't continue this video if you don't want minor spoilers and you haven't read the first 2 books. Just warning, okay? Let's talk about the cover. I really like that the first 3 books have snow on the cover and the entire cover is pretty much just snow. I just think that is really pretty and it matches with the plot very well. I like the font color here, the purpley pinks right here is really pretty. You got a locket with some blood on it. It's a pretty plain book cover. There's not too much to go into, but yeah, I do like it. I think it's pretty. Okay, let's get into the plot synopsis that I have for you guys.
Like I said, if you have not read the first 2 books, you might not want to continue watching, okay? There you go. All right.
So this book starts off exactly where the second one left off. Beth has just rescued Doran and Claire from Helix's tower and the trouble that they were facing just minutes ago. This is the first time that Beth and Claire have seen each other since the stillness occurred. So you can imagine how happy they are to finally be able to look at one another and make sure they're all okay. But the reunion is slightly tainted because Beth doesn't like Doran. She doesn't trust Doran and she doesn't want him traveling with them. She wants to just kind of drop him off and say sayonara. Of course, Claire and Doran are not going to let that happen. As we can tell, their relationship is really strong from the first 2 books. They are really, really close. So yeah, it's not gonna happen. Doran's physical state is rapidly deteriorating and Claire is becoming more and more concerned. She knows that there isn't much time and she needs to get him help. She decides that they need to take the USB that they received in book 2 and take it to the researchers in Evandale. The only hope that she has to save Doran is to get that code on the USB to the researchers in Evandale and hope that they can fix him and everything else. That's gonna be it for the plot description. I just want to say that Darcy Coates has done it again. I never thought that I would ever like an apocalypse series in my entire life, okay? I've never been a fan of apocalypse horror. I don't really get it. It's not my thing. I don't know, it's just not something that I ever gravitated towards, but for some reason, this series is just so good to me. I love this series and I can't believe I'm saying that. It's 2021. Well, actually I started this in 2020, so 2020/2021, and here I am saying, wow, I love this apocalypse themed horror series. It's crazy to me that I am this in love with it as I am. Darcy Coates knows how to write characters, and I mean characters that you truly just fall in love with, that you want to root for the entire time, that you are so deeply connected to that you don't even want to see them get hurt at any point in time because you're just so attached to them. And from the other Darcy Coates book that I've read, because I've only read one other book from her that's not in this series, she also wrote that way in that book. So I'm guessing that she just likes really character-driven books, but she just really, really knows how to write characters. I feel like that's what really sets her stories apart from other authors, is her characters. And I'm not saying that she's not good at writing amazing plots, because she is. I do love her plots. However, I feel like the characters are really just the main attraction in her writing. They're the main focal point, okay? They're just the thing that brings the whole story together. And it's just crazy because she can make me care about characters that I barely know. I will meet characters in one chapter. I'll only have them for 3 chapters and I'm still attached to them. I'm invested in their life. I'm hoping that they're okay. I'm wanting to know more about them and I love them already. That's amazing to have characters that are barely in the story and you want to love them. That sounds so strange, but I feel like if you know what I'm talking about, you get it. I feel like in horror sometimes it's hard to connect to characters, and it's not bad. It's just because of the type of horror you're reading. So, you know, there are really bad characters. Like, some authors really like to make bad characters, and there is a purpose and a time for that, because there is a reason to write evil, horrible, terrible characters. There is. I get it. But there is just something so nice to have characters in a horror story that you can just love and appreciate at every turn, and she does that for me, and that makes me very happy because it's a nice change of pace sometimes in the horror genre to actually have these lovable, you know, deep forming connections with these characters. If you guys have seen my other 2 reviews on the previous 2 books, you guys know I love Doran and Claire. Their relationship is just so freaking cute to me. I love both of them so very much. Claire does irritate me at times. I find her to be a little bit naive and a little bit too trusting. And I love that about her, okay? I do love those characteristics about her because it I don't know, it makes her just seem so sweet. But also, you know, you're going through some things, Claire. There's some, you know, there's some trouble, okay? You gotta be careful. And I don't want to blame her too much because she is going through something so crazy and so intense, and I'm not sure how I would even react to what she's going through. So I can't say that I wouldn't be the same way, but you know, as a reader, you're like, Claire, honey, don't do that. No, this is a bad idea. But, you know, I still love her, and I try not to hold it against her too much because, you know, I do care about her, but she is just a little bit frustrating sometimes, just a little bit. Doran is probably my favorite character out of the whole series. I absolutely love him. I love him so much. He is just a sweetheart. Oh my god, I love him. He'll just say things in the story. He'll just make these quips and I'm like, Doran, stop. Oh my god, he's just so funny and he's just the best, okay? He's definitely my favorite character. But again, if you don't like romance in your horror, you're gonna hate this series because the love isn't too lovey-dovey, gross, you know, but if you don't like the mixture of romance and horror, any little bit is probably going to irritate the crap out of you. So I have a feeling that Doran and Claire's relationship would drive you insane because, you know, they are going through, you know, a thing. They're going through an apocalypse. I feel like love and romance maybe should be on the back burner, but at the same time, it's what's keeping them alive. It's what's keeping them going. So, you know, no judgment, no judgment. This book is just as intense as the other ones in my opinion. I don't care how many times I read about these freaking hollow ones, okay? I don't don't care how many times I hear their descriptions, I hear the little noises they make, I read about them. I don't care how many times. They are still so freaky and gross. I cannot imagine what I would do if they were in my face, like trying to kill me. I would be traumatized. Okay, like Doran and Claire are gonna have some they're gonna need some help after this experience, okay, because they have been killing these things for 3 books now, and I'm sure their mental state is not doing great. So I can't even imagine. They're so gross. The hollow ones are just so ew. I also just really like the descriptions of the hollow ones, as much as it's gross and like ew. I like that they're very different than other zombie type creatures. I think that's another reason why I like this so much, is because I'm not a huge zombie fan. I find them to be very overrated and just meh. I just don't care about zombies. So I really like that these are a different type of zombie, and they're not the same repetitive stuff, you know? So I do appreciate that, and maybe that's why I can look past the zombie nature of this book and it still is fun to read. So this book focuses a lot on the journey to Evandale to give the USB to the researchers. It reminds me a lot of the journey Claire and Doran were on in the second book, because the majority of the second book they were also on a journey. That was pretty much the entire book. So this one is pretty much the same, except the journey is slightly different with other dangers and other scenarios happening. So it is different, but they are pretty similar. Even though the book is kind of similar to the second one, like I said, with the journey aspect, I don't know, it was still anxiety inducing and I still got nervous. I was still worried for the group. I don't know. It didn't feel repetitive. Like, it felt the same and similar, but it also didn't. I think the journey is also more intense because of Doran's worsening health. You're really worried about him the entire time because you can tell he's sick. You can tell he's not getting better, and you don't know what they're gonna do to help him. I mean, the entire journey is just Claire making sure Doran doesn't get worse and worse and worse and worse. I think that's where a lot of my anxiety stemmed from, because like I said, Doran is my absolute favorite character. So I was just really worried about Doran. I was really nervous for him. I needed to make sure he was okay. I was getting anxious because I just needed to know if Doran was going to be fine. So I really think these books are good for people who are new to horror, or who like their horror to be a little tame and not super terrifying. I'm not saying these books aren't scary, because if this was really happening to me, this would be absolutely terrifying. However, I don't think these books are that scary. They're just more anxiety inducing and stressful to read about, and, you know, action packed because of the fights between the hollow ones in them. So I mean, it's a hard horror to describe because it's almost not horror, but it is. So I really think people who aren't too familiar with horror or don't want to be too scared, I think this would be a good series, because it's still really, really thrilling, and there's a lot of action, there's a lot going on, the characters are really good, and there are some creepy moments, but it's just not very, very, very scary. Honestly, I loved every second of this book. I wasn't surprised that I loved every second of this book. I think I just really love the way Darcy Coates writes, and I'm really invested in Claire and Doran. I'm really invested in their journey and their life and their well-being. So this series is just really good to me, and I've enjoyed every book so far. I haven't had any complaints, honestly. I don't have any critiques or criticisms, which is kind of crazy because I kind of like to critique books, but I just really like this series and every book has been a 5-star for me so far. I need to read the last one. I own the last one. It's in my TBR pile. I just haven't gotten to it. It's taken me so long to get to this one that the 4th one is just staring at me now, because now there's even more going to happen. Like, after this ending, I can't imagine what the next book is gonna hold. I have some ideas, I have some theories of what the next book is going to be about. I'm pretty sure I kind of have it figured out because of how the books play out. It's pretty similar. So I have an idea for the last book. I think I know how it's gonna go, but I have no idea how this series is gonna end. I have no idea what's gonna happen. I hope it's gonna end really well because I don't want anyone dying or anyone I love getting hurt more than they have. So it's like, but yeah, I'm really pleased with this series. I just love it. Darcy Coates knocks it out of the park once again. Are we surprised? You shouldn't be, because I'm in love with this series. That's going to be it on Whispers in the Mist by Darcy Coates. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you've read this series, or if you, well, I hope you've read the series if you're watching this video. I gave many disclaimers at the beginning of this one, but if you are watching, even though I told you not to, let me know if you want to read this series. And yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Have you read the last one? Should I read it soon? Should I read it for next week's video? I know that's back to back, but should I? Should I finish the series? I don't know. Should I do it? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. It lets me know what kind of content you enjoy from me. That way I can keep providing you with that kind of content. Feel free to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. We can become friends, talk about books, movies, makeup, horror, all kinds of things. I do a lot on this channel, so hopefully there's something for everyone. And with that being said, I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day, and I will see you on Monday with a new video. Bye!